So, a quick disclaimer before we get into today's podcast episode. Throughout the episode, you might hear some clicking. That's just me scrolling through my notes on my computer, and unfortunately, the clicking on the mouse has been caught by my microphone. I've tried to get rid of it as much as I can, but some of it I just can't. I shall make it better for next episode. Furthermore, this was recorded on Friday the 23rd of July, so a few days after the season ended. Since then, quite a bit has happened, such as Russell Westbrook being traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. This was done before then. Keep that in mind, please. And I hope you enjoyed this massively long episode with me and a guest. Let's get into it. And welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Arc, and this is a very special episode. I'm hyped. Because, as you can hear in the background, I have myself a guest. But I'm going to need to explain some things. So, I'm Sam, and I'm the person that's been, for the first 6 episodes of Beyond the Arc, just talking to himself into his microphone, editing the audio, and releasing it for you guys. But now I have a guest. Why don't you introduce yourself, Sully, man?
Yo, I'm Sully, and we're just gonna entertain, and I'm excited, man. I'm excited to do this. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gassed.
Yeah, so am I. The season ended about 3 days ago from today.
I think it was two
I
or
want to
three.
say.
Yeah, two days
Yeah,
ago.
two or 3 days. What we're going to do today, we got a massive episode for you. Us two, we are going to go through every single NBA team, and we're going to rank their seasons from worst to best.
There's gonna be some stinkers. There's gonna be some big stinkers.
There were some big stinkers this year. We're going to be putting them on a tier list, which hopefully you guys will be able to see come the end of the video. If you're listening on Spotify or any other podcast platform like that, you won't be able to see it. But if you're listening on YouTube, you should be able to. We're going to go through some of the tiers right now. So the top tier, the goated tier, is so inspirational, just like Seth Curry.
Look at Curry, man.
The second tier is almost there, so teams that were close to reaching what they wanted to do this year. The middle tier is just a meh year. You know, it was just meh.
Decent,
It's all right.
decent.
The fourth tier is about as good as Ben Simmons' 3-point percentage, which isn't that good. The final tier is tank season. Teams that have just had an awful year and they're going to be looking to the draft to improve. So we're going to be looking at it from how the teams have performed this year, but also what they were expecting to do as well. So for example, I'ma just single out Brooklyn. They had an alright year. They got to the conference semis.
The fact that they had the potential to get to the finals. So they had a good season, but in terms of the expectations, they didn't do as well as they should have.
But before we get into it, as always, you know what you've got to do. You got to subscribe to the channel. If you want more episodes with me and Sully, if you want more episodes with me and a guest, you got to subscribe to the channel, like the video. If you listen on any other podcast platform, just give it a view, share it out. And without further ado, should we get right into it?
Let's do it, bro. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go. So first up, we've got the Atlanta Hawks. Now, from the basis, what are you thinking about Atlanta? How's Atlanta's season?
I was surprised, I'll be honest. In the regular season, they did well, but I didn't think that they'd do that well in the playoffs, I'll be honest. Atlanta, I think they are going places. And come on, Trey, the guy is a menace, especially in the playoffs. No one expected him to maybe even reach playoffs or maybe get kicked out first round of the playoffs, and I think that gone.
Yeah, you look at where they were at the All-Star break. They were dead. They were dead at the All-Star break. They were 13th in the conference. And then Nate McMillan, I think he probably should have got Coach of the Year this year.
You think?
He came in and he transformed that team. I think he should have got Coach of the Year over Thibodeau this year.
It's a hot take. But you know what?
Well, we're only 5 minutes in. We got our first hot take.
But to be fair, you know what? He's got a full season now. He's got the draft. I think if he can take them to the semis, then it'll be interesting.
Yeah, me too. You look at how young their core is anyway. Before,
exactly, they've all got time to improve and to better the game and stuff. And I think they need a bit of experience, or they need at least 1 or 2 experienced guys in the squad, because you can't have all youngsters. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. They got that Capella at center. He's got a bit of experience. He was on the Rockets before he came to the Hawks, and he's a decent center. But yeah, I do get you. They probably do need a little bit more. I'd say probably another guard as well as Lou Williams. To bring that vet.
If you're on the board of the Hawks or you're the coach, what is one player you want to bring in realistically?
I'm not gonna lie. I think as much as Lou Williams is a good player, I don't agree with them getting rid of Rajon Rondo.
Bro, come on, that guy is amazing. Even Lakers championship win, the guy was one of the most solid players.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a vet and he's still got it.
But yeah,
I
that's who. As much as they got Lou Williams from that trade, I do think
mm,
that Rondo, it's probably who like Trey needs to, learn
definitely,
off of.
definitely. Especially, come on, if you're wanting some dime passes, yeah, you're wanting them off Rondo out of anyone else.
Where would you say that Hawks go? It's got to be top. It's got to be one of the top two, hasn't it?
It has to be. You know what? It's a tough one because you could put them in first or second tier. You could put them in the first one simply because of how well they actually did against the Bucks.
And they knocked out the Sixers as well, who were like
Exactly.
top of the conference.
Exactly. I was just gonna say
You know what?
Sixers.
I'm putting them into so
Are you doing
inspirational.
it?
We can move them back. I've done
You
it.
know
I've
what?
moved
Nah,
them into
I
so
back it.
inspirational.
I back that. I back
Yeah,
that. I'm sorry. Trey against the Knicks was just he was
he was
wrong, bro.
disrespectful.
He's gonna be one of those like people talk about players at a certain point of their career. They're gonna talk about Trey against the Knicks in the playoffs for the next few years. That's gonna be his highlighted moment. Like people are gonna want him to perform like that in every playoffs.
And we'll move to another Eastern Conference team that got to the semi-finals this time. We alluded to them before. It's the Brooklyn Nets. This was the super team of the NBA this year, and you've got to think if their big three didn't get if two of their big three didn't get injured, they've got to go all the way, right?
I mean, yeah, but the thing is, in my opinion, it's a big four because they had Blake as well, didn't they? He's a bad guy on his day. I remember me and you talking about the Nets when they got Harden, and we thought this is it now. As soon as they got KD healthy, I thought, yo, it's done. Even without Harden, I thought it's done because KD is the most solid shooter in the league easily. Top
Yeah,
two
he is.
scorer. I know they played the NBA, well, the now NBA champs, but I still think they should have put them away.
They came so close to beating them, didn't
They
they?
did. It was
But
literally, it was
that game
half an
7,
inch.
literally millimeters,
I remember
millimeters.
I watched that and I thought they won. I literally, when he hit that basket, I thought they won. I didn't know it was a two. I thought it was a three. I
KD's
was,
long ass feet.
imagine if he was just like half a size smaller in shoes.
Exactly, man. But yeah, I'd say injuries definitely this year stopped them. I'd say with obviously injuries happen every year. You've got to say without injuries, this team's the best team in the NBA
Yeah, oh yeah.
because not only didn't they have Kyrie and Harden, Spencer Dinwiddie was out for the whole season.
Yeah,
Who's a
KD was out
who's
for
a-
every now and then. KD was missing a
yeah.
few games every month.
I'd say they had a good season. They'd have had a great season if they didn't have injuries.
Well, if they didn't have injuries, they were winning. Healthy Nets is going 4-0 against the Suns in the final.
Where are we putting
Oh,
them? Because like I said, they had a decent year. But I'd
you
say
know,
in terms of like what they could have done, I'm thinking it's very meh.
I'm saying if you consider the injuries, it's a tough one. I agree with you. It's either third or second tier, but it's a push to a second tier because they should have beat the Bucks, man. They should have beat the Bucks. I'm gonna pass this call to you because
Oh no, you can't. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna put them in meh. Moving on to the Boston Celtics. Talk about a team that had a pretty underwhelming year.
compared to last season,
They got to the Eastern Conference Finals last season.
exactly. How far did they get? Did they make playoffs this year? They did, didn't they?
They finished 7th. They got through in the play-in. They lost the first round to the Nets. It was pretty much a dominating display
Yeah,
from
it was.
Brooklyn.
I remember.
They beat them 4-1, and the game that the Celtics took, Tatum dropped 50.
Yeah, I remember that
And
50-point game, and that was a
and you
solid
can't.
match. But the thing is as well, I feel bad because you know what? They have a good set of players. I mean, Jason Tatum, come on, that guy's got future MVP, in my opinion. He will, in the next 4 years, 5 years max, he's going to be MVP of the league.
Yeah.
Jalen
And
Brown,
Jalen Brown was injured for the playoffs.
exactly. Even if he's not injured, they're not beating the Nets. I think did they get unlucky with that one? I don't know. Do you think that if they played a different team in that first round, any other team except the Nets, do you think they're getting through, or do you think they're getting swept by, or they're losing to all the teams?
They knock out the Knicks.
Do they?
Did you see how the Knicks were playing in the playoffs? Julius Randle was gone. We'll talk again.
He
We'll get
was.
to them, but Julius Randle was gone. So they
Oh,
probably
man.
knock out the Knicks.
Are they beating Atlanta?
Probably not. No, Tatum just doesn't have that much help, in my opinion.
100%, 100,000%.
They've made a few trades already, I think. They've brought back Al Horford. They've gotten rid of Kemba Walker.
You know what?
Al's
Kemba
Al's
was
a
so
good vet.
disappointing all season. It wasn't even like a few
Yeah.
games. To say Kemba Walker a couple years ago, they're talking about
Yeah.
he's top 5 in the league in his position. I remember the guy at the Hornets. He was sick at the Hornets. Even last season, he was decent. Playoffs, he wasn't amazing, but he was still good. I was just all season, I was so disappointed in Walker, man. He was one of my favorite players to watch. Like on those underrated teams, I'd watch some Hornet games because I know Kemba's gonna be on it. Kemba's gonna be on fire. And then this season at the Celtics, he was just so disappointing. And I think he was the main reason. I don't know if they should have traded him though.
No?
I think he was just a one season flop. I think that he would have come back. Because come on, we've seen it happen before.
He went to the Thunder. He should be their number one option. Maybe Shai Gilgeous-Alexander might be their number one option.
Come on, man, it's the Thunder.
Big hot take from you then. Are you saying that Kemba Walker's gonna bounce back next year?
I think next season we're gonna run this episode back next year. Let's be honest. When it's done, we're gonna do this again. And I'm telling you, I'm not saying he's gonna be like old Kemba. I'm not saying he's gonna come back and drop like 30 points a game. But I think he's gonna be miles better than what he's been last season. Well, this season, last season, whichever you wanna call it.
I'll hold you to that one.
You
Right,
will,
but
you will.
anyway, let's get back to the Celtics, and it can't be top 2 in my opinion.
No chance.
Because it's the Celtics, and because they have Jason Tatum.
They had high expectations. Come on, like Jason Tatum, he's one of the most talked about, one of the most hyped up youngsters in the league, and he's got the
Yeah,
ability. We both know, everyone knows he's got the ability.
Yeah.
You can't even hate on the guy.
Coming off of last season as well, where they
Exactly.
played quite well. I'd say very low into a May year because they did make the playoffs still. If they managed to choke the playoffs, it'd be
like if they played the Knicks in that first round, they might have gained like a bit of confidence, and they might have like gone into a game against Atlanta and then beaten Atlanta in a series. Maybe like you never know. But obviously, if you're gonna get Nets in the first round of the playoffs, you should just say goodbye to your season. Yeah. Unless you're Giannis, like.
Right, moving on. And we've got the team that Kemba came from. We got the Charlotte Hornets, who, first of all, putting it out there, their commentators are mad good.
Yeah. You know what I've seen from their Instagram when they used to post things? They've got some hyped commentators when Melo's dropping dimes and they're just going crazy. Like
every single week, I'm scrolling through my timeline.
And it's just all Melo. It's all Melo.
There's a Melo to Miles Bridges highlight. I just smile because I know that I'm going to be hearing Miles Bridges just from the commentators, and this is gassed. Do you think that you should have won Rookie of the Year over Anthony Edwards?
1,000,000%.
For real?
Melo, I was saying it all year. Melo is my Rookie of the Year. I absolutely loved that guy all year. The worst part of the season is when Melo got injured. I was so angry.
That's what I was going to say, because you look at where the Hornets were before he got injured, and then when he got injured, they kind of had a bit of a decline, and they didn't end up making the playoffs.
So he was kind of carrying, wasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, their team isn't that good anyway. I'd say they'd still get swept in the first round.
Probably yeah. Easy. Melo is way better than the Hornets.
He's going to bring them up. Yeah. I think the Hornets are a good franchise at the moment, I'd say. They
have the potential, but as much as a legend he is, Jordan as their owner is, I don't know what the hell the guy's doing, but he needs to sort it out, man, because Melo has been the first good thing to come from the Hornets since Jordan has been the owner. I swear.
That's true.
He could. This is it. Look at the Grizzlies. No one cared about the Grizzlies, and now they've got one of the best youngsters in the league. He could take them places. All it needs is one big player, and that's it. Look at Steph and Clay. They literally, fair enough, they're Draymond as well, but come on, their first championship, they never had KD. They just had two solid players that just bounced off each other, and that's what took them to a chip, and that's all Charlotte need. I'm not saying they're winning a chip, but come on, they're not winning the chip. Unless LeBron, Steph, they all get injured filming Space Jam 3. I don't know, but I mean, they could. They have the potential, but I'd say they had a decent season, all things considered. No one thought Melo was going to be as good as he was. I was just excited to see him, simply because I wanted to watch like the ball v ball games, but I didn't know he is so clear of Lonzo as well. Lonzo's good.
I'd say Lonzo has a lot of potential still, but keeping with the other ball brother and keeping with the Hornets, I'd say what they need to aim for next season is the playoffs. So I'd say they're almost there.
I don't think they're making playoffs next year.
You don't?
I don't. I hope they
Ooh.
do because I want to
LaMelo in
see
the
Melo in the playoffs. I want to see if he can clutch up. You never know.
I'm putting them in almost there at the moment. We can move them down. They're
Melo
close.
for real plays like he's just playing for fun. Like you know them guys on 2K, my court. Them guys just dropping dimes. Like that's Melo, bro. I don't even think he takes the game seriously. He just plays, has fun, puts a smile on, and then gets 12 assists.
That's LaMelo Ball in a nutshell.
Literally.
But anyway, moving on. We got my team next. We got the Chicago Bulls. I'll be the first to tell you that it was so frustrating watching the Bulls this season. We were fourth quarter choke merchants. So many leads over so many good teams, and we threw them away every single time in the fourth, and it was so frustrating.
You beat the Nets though, didn't you?
Yeah, we did, which was big. But the one game that comes to mind for me is that game against the Blazers, where we led by 5 with 3 seconds left, and we lost.
Oh my god. I remember that one. You know what?
I watched that damn free buzzer beater going, and I was like, ah.
I remember the Vucevic trade going through, and straight away
I was gassed.
you was gassed. I remember you was gassed because you told me. And truthfully, they should have made playoffs.
Or at least the play-in. They didn't even make the play-in, which was pretty disappointing. And Zach did get put in health and safety protocols for like the last 2 weeks of the season, which didn't help. But I don't think we'd have made it anyway. Our schedule was tough. Oh, Zach's amazing, man. Zach is...
He's so good. He's so good. But do you think he's going to be loyal to LA? Like, not LA, sorry, Chicago. You think he's going to stay for a few more seasons?
I think so. Because we've got Vucevic, we have a big duo now. We have an all-star duo. We got people like Kobe White coming in.
I love that guy, you know. He's slept on.
He's very inconsistent, I think.
He is, but he's got potential. Like, I'm telling you, his potential is there. Especially if he's coming up with Zach. And obviously, to say Zach's a youngster, he's so good already for his age. He's miles better than what he should be. I think that next season, they have to make playoffs. Have to.
If you look at them this season, I'd say I wouldn't even put them in the May year.
Do you think? I'd say because come on, remember?
I'd say even on paper in that Eastern Conference, even without Vucevic, we should have probably made the playoffs.
I don't know. Remember Chicago?
Or at least the play-in. At least the play-in.
Come on, remember Chicago the year before? It's a major improvement. It's a major improvement. I think because obviously with the way you finished the season before, nobody thought you'd do that well. So I think
fair. Okay, all right. Okay, I'll put them in there then. Right, next up we have the Cavs.
They were just like a space in the league because I'll be honest, they didn't even do anything. They just gave people wins, didn't they? They had Drummond at the start of the season, Andre Drummond, and then he traded to LA. He is not amazing, and he was one of their top players, and then they just let him go.
Saying that though, Jarrett Allen is a good young center, I think. Colin Sexton is a very good young guard.
Yeah, Colin Sexton is good. I'll give you that. He is good, but
the rest of their team's just a bit trash. They've got Kevin Love still, but Kevin Love's a bit washed.
He's pushing. Like, he's hanging on to the glory, isn't he? They were just one of those teams. They didn't do anything good. They weren't the worst team in the league, obviously. Did anyone expect the Cavs to do anything? It was still a trash year. It was still trash.
I'd still put them in fourth tier.
What, the Ben Simmons tier?
They finished 13th in the conference, which is not great given that the East ain't that good anyway. They won 2 more games than the Pistons. That's poor.
My God. Wait till we get onto them. Oh my God.
We don't have to wait because we're going to put the Cavs in the 4th tier and then next up is the Pistons.
Oh,
and before we even start, I'm going to put them in tank season because...
Yeah, straight up. How can you be... I was thinking, you know, when you told me about this episode, obviously I was looking at the table, just reminding myself, how can a bunch of professional basketball players be that bad? Do you blame the coach or do you blame the players? Because surely a bunch of professional players cannot be that bad.
These lot traded Derrick Rose for Dennis Smith Jr., you know?
You know what, Dennis Smith, he's not the worst player in the world, but they took the biggest L on that trade. D-Rose showed at Knicks that he's not washed up. Obviously, he's not prime Bulls D-Rose that we fell in love with years ago. We still miss that guy to this day. But he was good at the Knicks. To say people don't even talk about him, or some people forget he even plays like that. he was good. So that the Pistons,
Yeah.
they would have maybe not finished last if they kept him on. I don't know what they were paying. I swear, didn't they have Blake as well, and they traded
They
him to
did.
the Nets? They had
Yeah.
two solid players. If they kept Blake and D-Rose, they're doing a half decent job in the season.
Jeremy Grant had a good season too. You can't discount that. Jeremy Grant had a decent season.
He's carrying nothing, to be fair.
But the rest of the team, it was just a bit dead when you think about it.
I like to watch as many games as I can because you can't look at the box score and know how well someone played, especially if someone did get numbers up like that. They might still have a decent game. But with the Piston matches, I just thought no. Especially after they traded Blake, I was so confused. I just didn't understand. How can
Yeah,
you
you
give away
wanted out there.
Blake Griffin?
But anyway,
Blake
I think they're
Griffin,
definitely
bro?
looking forward to next season. They got Sadiq Bey, who had a decent rookie year, and they've got the first pick in the NBA draft next year. So you never know. Next year they might not finish bottom.
Yeah, but who's gonna want to play for them? How many of these youngsters who are coming up from college thinking, yes, NBA is gonna think, yes, Pistons? No one's thinking that. Like, I'd rather play G League than play for the Pistons because let's be honest, you can play G League and then get some hype on Instagram, or you can sit on the Pistons bench and get washed up and start thinking, oh man, I miss playing in the NBA. NBA was fun, you know. Now I don't know, back at college, starting again because the Pistons screwed me.
Yeah,
I
Pistons
just
are a bit dead, aren't they?
I just take the first pick away from them because they're just gonna waste it. I just really dislike that team, man. They're not a good team. Shadow of what they once was.
I'm gonna stop you bagging on the Pistons. I think the Pistons have had enough. Let's move on to Team Luka Doncic. We got the Dallas Mavericks up next.
Oh,
Luka is like he's gonna be GOAT
he's so
status
good.
by the
Yeah,
time he's retired.
100%. He's gonna be up there. He's gonna be in the conversation. It's crazy how good he is.
We were talking about teams being carried by one player, and Luka was definitely carrying the Mavs, especially through that first round 7-game playoff series loss against the Clippers. Porzingis is a fraud.
I was shocked. I'll be honest. I expected them. First of all, I expected them to beat the Clippers. I fully expected it. Like I don't know how they didn't. I thought they should have. And even with Luka doing absolutely everything, the team just I don't know. I think they just rely on him way too much. No one even tries. And they either has to get one or two big players, or he needs to go from there because
That was Porzingis, though. You got to be thinking that
yeah,
big player was Porzingis. I don't think Porzingis is bad. He's just one of those players that you can't. He isn't a second option. He has to be played through.
yeah.
He isn't someone that can be told you have to be a stretch five. Because his 3-point shooting's terrible. You can't expect him to make 5-6 threes a night because he's not going to do it. He doesn't fit in the Mavericks setup with Luka as the main option.
But he should stay though, because he needs to figure out a way to. They need to figure out a way to work around it. Because realistically, if they want to keep Luka, which they need to be flipping begging to keep that guy, because he can walk into absolutely any top team in the league. Because that guy is chip worthy. He could easily be MVP of the league next season if he keeps it up, or the season after, easily.
Easy.
Because
Yeah, easy.
it's crazy, but I don't know with him, man. I think he has to. If I was him, I'm looking to leave.
You're thinking Luka's going to be
Luka
on from the Mavs
wouldn't.
in 3 years.
He wouldn't, but he should, because
Right. That's a take.
yeah, I mean, I get like obviously I know these big players they stay at these clubs to like be the main guy, like Giannis, obviously, but the Mavs. I'm sorry, I can never see the Mavs winning a chip. I can't.
Nobody
I,
saw him winning a chip in 2011.
that's true. I don't know, but come on, if you look at the teams now.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
The Nets are beating them. The Warriors, if they've got healthy players, are beating them. The Suns, if they keep in the squad, could beat them. Bucks are beating them. They had a good season though.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah, because the West is a tough conference anyway.
Yeah, there's
And
a lot of good
They
teams.
took the Clippers to 7.
Exactly.
I'd say they're almost there to where they want to be. They need a superstar that complements Luka, and then they're conference final material, even in this tough West, I'd say.
If they keep Porzingis.
He's got his Kevin Love, he needs his Kyrie Irving now.
Straight up. But I think they can. The thing is, there's so many teams that have potential for next year. Next season is going to be crazy, man.
I'd say one of those teams is the team that we're going to be talking about next, and that is the Denver Nuggets, who they've got themselves.
They've got the
league's
MVP. They've got the MVP of our league on their squad.
Yeah.
But Jokic, man, That guy.
Do you think if Jamal Murray stayed fit, do you think the Nuggets get through to the conference finals?
That's a hard one, bro. I don't know.
They still finished third in the regular season in a Western Conference, which is still
And
tough.
for what, half of the season they didn't even have Jamal.
Yeah.
If they kept him, they could have finished second or first.
They've got themselves someone who I like. They've got Michael Porter Jr. I like Michael Porter Jr. He's just super inconsistent. I'd say on his day,
A lot of players on their
his-
day, though, innit? A lot of players on their day are
Yeah.
just different. With the Nuggets, I know that watching them all season was just so fun. Jokic was easily, he was my MVP. I like Curry as a player, and I loved watching him. But Jokic deserved MVP more than Curry. But
I'd say so, yeah.
just because of how amazing he did pretty much on his own. No disrespect to the Nuggets, but he carried them all the way to himself getting a flipping MVP.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, man. And I'd still say a conference semi-final is still pretty good for them.
They'll get to semis next year, but it's just about who they play. Because
that's true.
And then obviously, if they've got a healthy squad, they might get a big player. You never know. That's the thing. There's how there's some of these big players looking to move. For example, Dame. Again, Dame's name, his name is gonna be flying all over the place today. I just know because come on, if you're looking to move to a squad, why wouldn't you want to move to a team where the MVP of the league is there?
They've got such an upside as well with the players that they have. They still have a good, decent young core.
They've got they've got people coming up, and fair enough to go swept by the Suns, but they have a strong potential. I tell you something, I see the Nuggets winning a chip over the Mavs.
Yeah, at the moment, I'd agree with you. Yeah. I'd say if I had to choose one to win a chip in the next 10 years, easily.
Yeah,
I agree.
Easy.
I'd say I'd put them almost there.
Yeah, almost there, definitely. But I was gonna say because last year in the playoffs,
they got knocked out in the finals by the Lakers. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good finals. It wasn't like they didn't get swept.
No. I'd say obviously they've been worse this year, but obviously with the injuries.
In my opinion, I still think that they exceeded my expectation because I didn't think they'd do that again. I thought that they wouldn't even get close. I just thought it was a one-season wonder.
I've put them in the second tier. Yeah,
I'll accept. Yeah, that's good. I'll accept that.
Cool. Next up, the Warriors.
Oh man, Steph's back must be hurting from that season.
He had 30 games last season.
I swear he averaged 32 points per game or something mad. The guy, it's crazy. He's still got it.
Oh,
he's still got it.
Like he came back from a season,
full season
he was
out.
Injured. Yeah, and he came back and he averaged 30 plus.
And come on, look at some of the players that he was playing with. He wasn't playing with no KD, Clay. The last time he played in the Warriors, his team was KD, Clay, and Draymond. And then he's gone from that to playing with sometimes Draymond, Kelly Oubre Jr., Wiggins, and Wiseman. Wiseman was decent. Wiggins, I don't even know. That guy was so bipolar with his performances. Sometimes he was having amazing games, and then sometimes he'd just be dropping brick after brick after brick.
That's just been his career though so far.
Straight up, it hurt to watch Andrew Wiggins play because you didn't know what it was going to be like. You had no clue. Do you remember the first game of the season, Warriors Nets? Andrew Wiggins, oh my god, it was painful to watch. I sat there, I was cringing. Every time he'd have an open three, he'd hit that backboard, he wouldn't even hit the rim. I was shocked. And you know what?
Everything came from Steph.
And the play-ins, they only just about lost. Fair enough.
Without a play-in, they came out. Without a play-in, they made the playoffs. But unfortunately, they lost to the Lakers and then they lost to the Grizzlies.
That was so frustrating. Because I thought, fair enough, they might lose to the Lakers. But I thought they'd easily beat the Grizzlies. I thought that one, for me, was an easy win. But the Lakers, that game was so good though.
LeBron went clutch mode in that game.
LeBron. I don't take favorites a lot of the time when I watch basketball because I know you support the Bulls. I don't really support a team. I just like watching good basketball. I have favorites. Sometimes they change. Like for example, this year because CP3 went to the Suns, I wanted the Suns to do well. I didn't think they'd do as well as they did, but Suns for me, I did want them to do well. Steph, he's one of my favorite players. If not, come on, he's like everyone's favorite player. So I wanted the Warriors to do well as well. But I didn't think they'd lose to the Grizzlies. But
no, neither. But then you got to look at what would you have expected the Warriors to do this year, and then you look at the fact that next season they're gonna have Clay back.
They've got a big three for next year.
As much as Kelly Oubre and Andrew Wiggins are inconsistent as well, they can still provide good numbers when needed.
They can. Kelly Oubre, on a good day, he was a tough player. Yeah. And Wiseman has potential.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd put him in almost there.
Would you?
It's another second tier for me.
I'd say so. Considering the fact that they basically had two players all season.
Curry's in so inspirational, but on a whole, the Warriors are in almost there.
They could win the chip next year if they clutch up. They could.
If they imagine if they do, that's mad.
I think it could happen. I think it could happen. They've got the big
I don't
three.
think it's out of the question.
They're not. You can't rule them out straight up, especially with the draft coming up. They could. I know they've got Wiseman, who's young, and obviously he's only gonna learn. Especially of Draymond, he's only gonna learn. It's gonna be interesting, man. Plus the Splash Brothers, we haven't seen those guys in 2 years.
The Warriors have the seventh. Yeah, the Warriors have the 7th pick this year, man. So they have a decent pick.
Yeah, not bad. I'm just excited to see Clay back, man. I love Steph, but
So
Clay,
am I.
like,
It's been 2 years
since
he's been gone for.
that final, the Raptors final.
He hasn't played a proper game of basketball since the 2019 finals.
Let me tell you why this guy's a GOAT, bro. He tore his ACL and he still made a free throw. That is like Kobe status. That is crazy. He's such an amazing player, bro.
We got the Rockets, who had the worst record in the NBA this year. They went 21 games without a 21
Wait,
game
is that the
losing
worst
streak.
record of all time?
It's one of.
Oh my god. I
It's
know.
weird because you look at their team and on paper it's not that bad. Pretty
Yeah,
much they got.
That's the thing.
They've still got John Wall. Christian Wood got injured and then they lost 21 games in a row. So
This says a lot. I mean, losing James Harden is probably, in terms of that team, if I'm in that squad and I found out James Harden is leaving our club, you're like heartbroken, because the guy for years and years was just unbelievable. He was way too good to be at the Rockets, especially they've come off last season. They had Russ and Harden, and then they've lost Russ and Harden in the space of a few months. Damn was her. Imagine coach, bro. Imagine coach.
Wow.
He just sat there in his bedroom, like hands on his head.
all of a sudden he's got Kevin Porter Jr. and injured John Wall as his backcourt. Like, that's a downgrade. No disrespect to Kevin Porter. That guy's got a great upside. John Wall, we didn't really see much of him last year. He's still slightly injured, but we know that he can do well. I feel sad that he got taken away from the Wizards, but the Rockets are in tank season.
Yeah,
most definitely. They had a poor year, but I think they can bounce back next year. I think they might get playing. They might not get playoffs. But I
What?
think they'll get playing.
Oh my god. You think they're gonna make it?
Because they'll have a decent pick in the draft. They've got like the number 2 pick in the draft. Kevin Porter's going to get better. John Wall might
Unless
be
they
fit.
like get
they
the
got
next
Christian Wood as well.
MJ or something. They are. I don't see them making playoffs. There's too many good teams, bro. I mean, unless they have a miracle season, stuff happens. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe.
Things happen.
Okay. Maybe I was a little bit too fast saying they might get playing.
You never know. Obviously, basketball is a crazy sport. We've seen crazy things, but I don't know about them making playoffs. If they do, that would be mad. I respect you. When we run this back next year, I'll tip my hat to you. But I don't see it happening.
You never know.
Who knows? Who knows?
Moving on, we got the Indiana Pacers, who had a bit of a quiet season. They were obviously involved in the whole, Oladipo doesn't want to be there anymore.
He's better than them though, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and he did finally manage to leave. They've got Karis LeVert now, who very underrated shooting guard in my opinion.
I do like him. You know what? He is good. But the thing is, it's the same with what I was talking about the Cavs. But obviously, they were better than the Cavs, obviously. But they didn't
they came ninth.
They didn't have a
They came
good
ninth.
season, but they didn't have a bad season. It was just a neutral season.
I'm gonna put them in there now.
Mm.
They had a very mad season.
The thing is,
Because
no one expected them to do anything, but no one expected them to be trash. They weren't trash, but they weren't amazing.
they were one game off of getting into the playoffs. They ended up finishing ninth. They beat the Hornets and then lost to the Wizards in the 8th place playing. They've got a decent young core as well, I like Brogdon and LeVert.
I like Brogdon. I like Brogdon as well.
They've got Sabonis, who's a very good young big man.
The thing is, a lot of these players, especially on that team, they don't work as well together as they should.
Yeah, that's true. They have time to get better. But like I said, it's very neutral, yeah.
I mean, do you think they're still healing from letting go of Paul George?
Yeah, well, obviously, they haven't gotten to where they were
haven't
with
found
Paul George.
a near close
They
replacement.
haven't found a rhythm, really. They almost had it with Oladipo, but then Oladipo wanted to move to the Heat. So they kind of just back at square one.
I don't know why he made that move. It made no change in where he's finishing in the season anyway.
So on to the Clippers.
They did well.
They got to the conference finals. And
Yeah.
I'd say with Kawhi,
If he's not injured,
that team's making it to the finals.
that's the thing.
Because Paul George was killing it in his
Bro,
absence.
he just...
But I'm looking forward to Paul George next year if Kawhi's out for the whole year. And I'm putting it out there.
Oh, hot
I
take.
think-
It's incoming hot
I
take.
think-
I just know.
He could be MVP next year, I think. Because you look at the MVPs in the past, it's been players that are good, but then have taken their game to the next level. I think Paul
For
George
those of
could
you
do
that
that
can't
without
see
Kawhi
me,
next
my
year.
jaw just dropped heavily right now. Wow, you know what? I like your thinking on that one because I have not seen anybody on Twitter or anyone even. There might be some people, but I haven't seen anyone say Paul George for MVP next year. And who knows? If he plays the regular season like how he played the playoffs, then you know what? Yeah.
When he played for the Thunder that year, he was third in MVP voting. And he had Russ and Carmelo there. Obviously, Carmelo wasn't that good for the Thunder, but I think maybe on his own, if he takes them to a good playoff seed, there's potential. He's in a Steph Curry moment at the moment.
Yeah,
You know,
that's the
he's
thing.
just got no one.
But
He's just
then the
got no
thing
one
is,
around.
look at Steph, bro. Fair enough, he didn't take them that far or anywhere at all, but he carried all season and he still came third in the
That's true.
MVP
So
voting.
maybe, so I
He
think he
if
could,
if
I
he
think he
does a
could
Steph
be an
Curry,
MVP.
he'll definitely be top three. He could. It's a hot take, bro. Watch how next year, yeah, we're there making the same video, and you're like, right, so Paul George, the MVP, Sully, what do you have to say? And I'm just like,
Mad. We'll keep back to this year, and the Clippers, they knocked the Jazz out. They knocked the Mavs
who
out.
had Jazz, who had an amazing regular season.
Exactly. So I'd say they had a second tier. They have potential for first.
I
I'd say
was
so.
gonna say because they beat the Jazz, and for most of the series they didn't even have Kawhi. And
Yeah, they were level without Kawhi. It was 2-2. Kawhi got injured, and then Paul George and Co pulled through, won the last two games.
and the thing is, Jazz, they were top. I didn't think that they would lose. I think we got to put them first here.
Yeah, you've convinced me. For first tier for the Clippers, they've had a really good season, I'd say. So yeah, inspirational season for the Clippers. Keeping in within LA, we got the Lakers, a team that didn't have as good of a season, but you got to say, without injuries, if injuries just weren't a thing at all,
Yeah,
this year's finals would have been Lakers Nets, in my
100%,
opinion.
100%. It's
Too good.
between the Nets and the Bucks because obviously no takeaway from the Bucks. They're a good team. Obviously Nets are solid, but whoever turns up on the day. But it is definitely Lakers were making final regardless.
Yeah, exactly, because they're just that good. Like LeBron, he's got to that point where he doesn't need to win the MVP anymore for people
Yeah,
to know that he's the MVP of the league.
yeah, 1000%.
Like,
He doesn't need to be in the voting. He doesn't need to put up, an MVP season because that's a normal season for the guy. This is why, like, don't get me wrong, right? In my opinion, Jordan is still better than him.
I'd say only just though, and I'm a Chicago fan.
That's
And I'd say if LeBron had a better finals record,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
could possibly even say that
It's
LeBron's better.
it's only by a bit, but the
Yeah.
guy's putting up MVP seasons, and that's just for him. That's just LeBron.
Keeping with the Lakers, putting injuries aside, are you saying that if AD stays healthy throughout the Suns series, do you think that I think they do knock out the Suns? They
Healthy
probably do knock
AD
out
and
the Suns.
healthy LeBron,
But
100%. Schroeder, I really liked him in the season.
he flopped hard in the
He
playoffs.
flopped it. He flopped hard. I swear there was a game he dropped 0 points. But
Yeah.
in the regular season, he clutched up. Considering no
Yeah.
AD, no LeBron, he was unbelievable.
If there wasn't a play-in, you were thinking, these guys might finish outside the top 8 without LeBron and AD fit throughout the whole season.
Yeah, 100%.
I can't put them in the top 2. It's either a meh or maybe even a fourth tier. They won the NBA last year.
If we're taking, because we took injuries into consideration with the
That's true.
Clippers and the
That's true.
Nets and all these teams, so I think you have to put them at least third. I don't think we can put them fourth. If
Yeah,
we
that's
weren't taking injuries into consideration, then yeah, I'd say definitely fourth, 100%. They're coming off a chip.
Yeah.
They should have at least getting conference finals, but obviously AD he was a big player for them when they won the chip.
And obviously, him being injured kind of ruined it this year for them, didn't he? We're going to carry on, and we got the Memphis Grizzlies up next, and I really like the Grizzlies. They're like the Hawks, but in the West, in my opinion. They just have such a good young core. Ja Morant. I don't think anyone can not like Ja Morant.
Bro, he's so good. He's giving me D-Rose first season vibes.
Yeah, I can see that. I'd say maybe even D-Rose first playoff vibes. I know they got knocked out in the first round.
But he was solid though, wasn't he?
They had Utah on the ropes. They took the first game. They did get 4-1. But
he was doing a lot, bro. That's the thing.
Dylan Brooks pulled through as a shooting guard in the playoffs as well. He was hitting constant 20-point nights.
They're going to need a big player.
I think they can wait. If they want to win now, maybe. But I'd say just keep growing Ja Morant, keep growing Jaren Jackson.
Ja Morant will
Them
grow
players.
himself
Yeah.
because we all know the guy's gonna be MVP one day. He was Rookie of the Year last year.
Over Zion, as much as Zion was injured for the most part.
True.
Zion is a beast, and Ja won Rookie of the Year over him.
It's
But
crazy.
you got to look at the Memphis Grizzlies overall this year. I don't think anyone was expecting them to make the playoffs.
I wasn't
maybe-
expecting them to beat the Warriors either.
I'd say 9th place is probably where I expected them to finish this year.
When they beat the Warriors, oh my god, I was shocked. I was beyond shocked.
I'd say if they did just get in the play-in and lose to Golden State, maybe it'd just be a meh. But I'd say they've made that. They made that step into the
They
playoffs.
exceeded expectations when they beat the Warriors.
And then had a really good playoff run, as much as it ended in 5 games. It was
But-
great to see them then.
Anyone would have thought, oh, they're getting swept in the playoffs. If Memphis make the playoffs, they're getting swept.
They took the first game, and the Jazz didn't have Donovan Mitchell for the first game. So maybe if you're thinking, Donovan Mitchell still injured for 3 more games, or maybe just for that series, an upset could have been on the cards. You never know.
100%.
I'd put them second.
I'd back that. They're going to be interesting next year.
Next up, though, we've got the Miami Heat.
I mean,
What happened to Miami in the playoffs this year?
bro.
Were the Bucks that good that they just swept them, or were Miami just very, very?
I mean,
under par?
technically they played the NBA champs, but even still, Miami played Bucks in the last playoffs.
and knocked
and-
them out. Their team this year hasn't really even changed from last year.
Literally.
Obviously, the Bucks has. Obviously, the Bucks brought injury Holiday.
To be fair, Giannis was injured in the last playoffs against Miami, and of course, Giannis Finals MVP. But even still,
we'll get on to Giannis. We'll praise Giannis a lot later. But
Yeah.
the Heat had an okay regular season. I don't think
The-
no one
the-
was expecting them to get to the finals last year. So I think about a 6th place for that team is probably about good enough for them.
Mm.
Just they bent over for the Bucks. They let them just destroy them.
Straight up, to be fair, like I was saying, with how the Nuggets kind of bounced back from last season and pretty much replicated it minus didn't get to the finals, they got to the semis. I thought Miami would do the same thing. I didn't think they'd get to the finals, but I thought conference finals at least.
I'd say so too. And I think part of that is because their role players just didn't show up this year. People like Tyler Hero. Duncan
Tyler
Robinson.
Hero, bro, in the bubble. I don't know what happened. Maybe the fans just pressure him and he can't hack it. Because let's be honest, before the bubble, no one was really talking about that guy. He was good, don't get me wrong. But before the bubble, barely anyone knew the guy. Then he's entered the bubble. He morphed into Kobe. And I was excited to watch Miami. I was excited to watch Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero and Iguodala and all these guys from Miami do something. And they just, as you said, got bent over by the Bucks. And I was shocked.
They still do have a good young core, though. Maybe this is just an off year for people like Tyler Hero. They've still got Bam Adebayo, who's...
Bam is, I love that guy.
And I love Jimmy Butler as well. He doesn't put monster numbers night in, night out. He enhances other people. He
Yeah,
makes them better.
I 100%
And
agree.
He's a very good player, and I think next year might be a bounce back season for them. They've got to put more of a fight in the playoffs.
Yeah,
They have to.
100%. I mean, if they keep the players, because, for example, if Bam was to decide now, forget these lot, I'm off to the Nets or something, because let's be honest, bro, that's the trend now. Oh, I'm off to the Nets, bro. Plus, isn't he playing Olympics with KD? What KD just whispers in his ear, yo, join us. And then that's it. They've got a big 5. It's not even about, big 4, big 3. They've just got 5 superstars. It could happen. You know?
2018 Warriors type.
Straight up. But I don't know. I mean, if they keep the players,
I think they will keep their players because they managed to keep them last year. So I think that they'll be able to keep them again this year.
you're not gonna leave a team that's just got to the finals. Obviously, everyone and their uncle knew Lakers was winning. No matter who they came up against, we knew all season. We knew LA was winning. We knew.
Yeah, I'm nodding my head in agreement right now.
Yeah, he is.
LA were too good last year.
I thought it'd be LA Bucks in the final last year, but anyone.
Miami shocked the world though,
They did like
and they shocked the world this year for all the wrong reasons.
straight up.
So I'd say I don't know. What were we expecting from them? Obviously you were expecting them to
I'd
almost run it back.
Conference finals minimum.
I personally don't think I was.
Hmm.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I was expecting them to be probably a semi-final exit. Definitely not a first round sweep.
I just don't get how they folded like that.
Where do you want to put them? Because obviously we said with the Lakers, they won the title. They got knocked out in the first round. We put them in the May year because they had injuries. Miami didn't even have injuries.
Fourth, Ben Simmons, bro. Ben Simmons.
About as good as the Ben Simmons 3-point percentage.
Yeah.
You're putting them there. That's
Straight
tough
up.
for Miami, but I don't disagree. Next up, we got the NBA champions, the Milwaukee Bucks.
Here
Talk
we
to me
go.
about Giannis.
Giannis, wow. The guy is a beast, bro. He's a monster.
He dropped 50 in the game winner. He dropped 50 in the series winner.
50, 10, and
50.
5. No one in the history of NBA Finals has dropped 50, 10, and 5.
For
ever.
real?
Straight up. Ever.
I got something else for you.
Go on.
The last person to score 20 points in a single quarter in the NBA Finals was Michael Jordan. And Giannis did it twice this series. He did it twice. No other player has done it since the 90s, and he did it twice.
Bro did it twice.
You know, I was talking to you during the game 6, and you were back in the Suns, and you said Giannis can't shoot free throws. Giannis shoots like 14 of 16 from the line, and makes you eat your words.
I must have been a bad guy that day because everything I said was just the opposite way around. I was saying, watch D-Book drop 40, 50 points. The guy was hitting bricks all game. And then Giannis, obviously, I was optimistic. I knew the Bucks were strong, but I thought maybe the Suns would pull it. I wanted the Suns to do well. I wanted CP3 to get a championship. I wanted D-Book to get a championship. But Giannis deserves it. I gotta tip my hat off. You gotta say it how it is sometimes. That man ran the league. He ran playoffs. He is unbelievable. He is, in my opinion, individually. If you take chips away, if you talk about just individual skill and performance, he's in the GOAT conversation in the next couple of years, 3 years.
Mad.
If he wins one more chip in that time, then obviously I know it's not 4 chips like LeBron. 6 obviously for MJ, 5 for Kobe. Tim Duncan has, is it 5?
5.
All these guys in the GOAT conversation, but he's got
He's 26. He's still got
young. He's got, look at LeBron, and he's still playing as good as he is as LeBron. Giannis can do that in 10 years.
Exactly. Like I said, we were talking during the game 6. I was like, if Giannis can get a jump shot, dude's unstoppable.
And to say he is a big man, his jump shot obviously is not the best, but he hits threes. He's not consistently, but he's like a bit like AD, but AD's jump shot is better.
Yeah, I love AD's jump shot.
He's crazy, innit?
Nice.
Right now, Giannis has the athleticism of LeBron, and he's getting the shooting level and that kind of mindset of Jordan, Kobe, all these other guys. But if he reaches and gets close, obviously he's always going to be as athletic as he is, unless like he just this summer just, I don't know, hits up Burger King and just, I don't know, has a flop, who knows. But let's say he keeps as athletic as he is and he just keeps practicing his shooting, gets a jump shot. The guy is going to be in the GOAT conversation once his career is finished.
I don't even disagree. And that's mad when you think about it. Greatest of all time is a mad statement.
It is.
And definitely when it's all said and done, it's between him and Luka on who is going to be the best non-American.
Yeah, I think Giannis is clear.
NBA player. He seems like a really good character to be around.
He does. Honestly, I'd love to meet the guy. I was thinking this the other day, I want to meet this guy, bro. He just seems like, like there's some people. For example, I love Chris Paul, but I feel like I don't want to meet Chris Paul. I feel like if I was like, yo, Chris Paul, he'd be like, shut up, don't talk to me. Like, I don't know. He's got that face. He's got that face. Whereas like if I was like, yo, Giannis, he'd like end up inviting me for tea or something. He's just one of those guys. Don't get me wrong. We have to talk as well about Chris Middleton.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm surprised we haven't even talked about him yet. Sorry, Chris. If you're watching this,
Chris, if you're watching, you're just a GOAT as well.
A great closer. Drew Holiday, as much as he's incredibly inconsistent at shooting, is a great defensive player.
He's good, man.
One of the main reasons why Book was not shooting it.
I mean, come on, bro. Booker is dropping 40 points or 30 points sometimes. He's dropping 25. He's dropping points on every single team, and he just couldn't do it against the Bucks. He had a good game. Game one.
Yeah, where he hit a 40-point triple-double. Obviously, we'll still talk about the Suns later. We'll talk about Devin Booker a lot more.
But I mean,
Drew Holiday did
would you say that's a big three already? Drew, Chris, and Giannis, or would you say?
I think it's not a traditional big three when you think about it, because you look at it and it's not a Warriors big three and it's not a Cavs big three. It's not a big three that you know is going to be in the finals every single year.
It's not like a LeBron, D Wade, and
Bosh. Yeah, it's not a Miami big three. I don't know. Maybe that's also because there's more competition.
True, but It works in their squad. It
Yeah,
works, and
it's
it
great.
works well.
I also like the fact that Giannis has stayed with the side that he got drafted with.
Because we all thought he was going in the summer. Everyone thought he was going. Some were saying Warriors, some were saying LA, but I doubt he'd go to LA. I mean, if he went to Warriors, they would have won the league. Fam, come on,
Easy.
with the way Steph was playing, you mad. Wiseman is sitting on the bench, and Kelly Oubre is sitting on the bench, and all these guys, boys, just gonna have Draymond, Steph, and Giannis out there, just 3v5, bro. They don't even need anyone else. They don't need
Fair.
no one else.
I've already put the Bucks in so inspirational.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
I think it'll be interesting to see him try and run it back next year with a hopefully healthy Brooklyn Nets.
the thing is now they're the ones to beat. But okay, fair enough. Yeah, the Brooklyn Nets are still a sick team, but they're not the big dogs anymore because they got
Exactly.
beat by the Bucks. The Bucks are the big
Exactly.
boys.
Moving on to the next team, though. We've been talking about Milwaukee a while. Let's move on to the Timberwolves. When you look at who the Timberwolves have, a 13th position finish in the
Nowhere
West.
near good enough.
They don't have defense. Cat is a great player. D'Angelo Russell, as much as he's been knocked off a little bit since he left the Nets, is still a great player. Anthony Edwards had a good rookie season as well. They just don't have defense. None of those can play great defense.
I mean, everyone thought Anthony Edwards was Rookie of the Year.
Myself included.
If he's Rookie of the Year, his team should be doing better.
That's probably the only thing that he had against him. He was putting up good numbers. That dunk that he did against Watanabe on the Raptors, he sent that guy to heaven. That's one of the best dunks that I think I've ever seen.
Them three guys,
It's a good big three.
It is. Obviously, it's not
but-
a massive big three.
Yeah.
But that's their three biggest players. And obviously, it was his rookie season at the end of the day. He's got time to improve. He's got a couple years until people are going to start saying, when is he going to step up? Because if him, D'Angelo, and Kat have collectively a good season, Timberwolves are going to be a problem.
They got Malik Beasley as well as a guard option. He averaged almost 20 points last season.
That's solid as well.
So I still don't think they had a good season. Given the talent that they have, I think
no chance. That was not a good season. They have, obviously, fair enough, nobody knew how good Anthony Edwards was going to be. Nobody knew he'd be top 2 rookies in the league. But even still, D'Angelo and Kat, come on, Kat, bro. People have been talking about that guy for years now. He needs to really step up his game.
Yeah. I get you. Yeah.
Obviously, D'Angelo, bro, everyone loves that guy.
He got done dirty in the KD trade.
He's been getting done dirty for years now. He got shafted by 3 teams, fam.
So I'm going to put the Timberwolves in the 4th tier. They're definitely not tanking because they don't even have a good draft pick next year. They got rid of it in the Russell trade. So they're definitely not tanking. Next up, we've got the Pelicans, who, I'm not going to lie, with who they have, Zion and Ingram,
should be doing better.
They didn't even get the play-in.
Considering Zion is already, in his second season in the NBA, a very big player. Good shooter, good dunker, solid guy. And Brandon Ingram, he was good in LA.
He got most improved player last year. You got to be thinking they got to do better. Lonzo had an okay season as well.
I mean, to be fair, Lonzo's stepping in. He's warm to the team now. He's been there 2 seasons.
But he's going to leave next year. He's not signing on. Yeah, free agency. The Bulls might be taking him.
That would be good for them. That's the player what we was talking about before. They need one more player. That's the player. I'm telling you. Because Lonzo's a good player. Have you seen his jump shot now? Majorly improved.
Compared to what it was when he came in the league. My man had his both arms just next to his head. That's how you shoot the ball,
his jump shot is clean now.
The Pelicans, it just ain't a good place to be at the moment. AD and Drew Holiday both won titles the first season that they left the Pelicans. So if Lonzo goes to the Bulls, I ain't gonna lie. Chicago pulling through with a 7th title. I'm not gonna lie.
That would be mad.
Yeah.
If Chicago win the title next year, my God. Well, I know you're gonna go mental. I know that one. You're gonna be on the first plane to Chicago from game 1 of the flipping NBA Finals.
Anyway, yeah, the Pelicans, they're down bad at the moment.
Straight up. They have the players, but they're not playing well together. I don't know. Obviously, it happens sometimes, but these teams that they have the players, I want to see them do well because I want the league to be as exciting as they possibly can. I want it to be at a point where any team could do something well. Like with the way Miami shocked everyone, I want that to be a case with a lot of teams. I want it to be the Pelicans could shock everyone, or the Bulls, or the Timberwolves, because then that makes the sport more fun to watch and more people will get into it because it'll be a case of you can watch any game and it's exciting as hell.
Zion's a very exciting basketball player as well.
Come on, he is, bro. He's coming up.
All-star appearance last year.
Exactly, already.
already.
MVP in the next 5 years, 6 years.
Okay. I don't think he's doing it at the Pelicans though.
Who
My
knows?
opinion.
Who knows?
I think
I
I
mean,
think he has to get out there if he wants to win an MVP.
I do see him winning an MVP in the next max 7 years. I see it. Because come on, the guy's,
Well, I'll hold you at that, man.
yeah, the guy's gold, man. As long as he doesn't get any big injuries, he's only going to get better and better and better. And I'm excited
You
about
know
it.
what? So am I. This season they had a poor year. They had the players to do well. They had a poor year. I'm putting them in fourth tier.
Are you not tanking him?
No, I don't think they're in tanking season because they have what it takes to
Mm.
get into a playing spot. Even though the West is a tough place. We'll move on to the New York Knicks.
I've been waiting
No
for
one was
this one.
expecting them.
I've been
No one was
waiting.
expecting the Knicks to do this year.
Honestly, I was beyond. They finished fourth, didn't they?
Yeah.
That is honestly, it was unbelievable. Julius Randle, obviously minus the playoffs.
It's just a shame that he went missing in the playoffs.
It really is. But regular season Randle, unbelievable.
Most improved player.
He
The
was.
regular season.
He was out of
Thibodeau
nowhere.
got Coach of the Year. D-Rose came in. RJ Barrett, he was third pick and he was a bit trash. He was kind of just a bit average. A lot of people slander him, but I think he's got what it takes to be good in this league.
Obviously, he doesn't have, for example, with Wiseman, he's got Draymond and all these guys, and he doesn't have the natural skill like Melo, and he still has potential though. He just needs some people to learn off.
Yeah, definitely.
Randall's
Yeah.
good, but he's not. I don't think he's someone you can learn too much of.
Yeah, he isn't a vet.
Yeah, cause come on,
He's a good all-round player, but he isn't a vet.
100%, 100%.
And they don't really have many good vets. They have Taj Gibson, who, you know, as a Bulls fan, I love a bit of Taj.
Of course, D Rose. He's not a vet, but he's still experienced. But
Yeah.
when I saw him go to the Knicks, I was excited. This is early on in the season, I remember, and they weren't doing amazing, but they were doing decent. They were doing better than everyone thought they would.
They've done better than anyone expected them to.
Yeah, 100.
In the
In my
regular
opinion,
I'd say
were
they've definitely overachieved this year, and I'm putting
by
them
a
in the top.
most improved team, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
Nobody expected them to do, like, for example, some people thought, oh yeah, the Bucks might win it this year, they might do it, or Nets, they might be good, like, but nobody, except for freaking Spike Lee, no one thought Knicks would do it well. I'm excited for the Knicks next year.
So am I. And I'm putting them in the top.
I'm telling you, you know what Knicks needs to do, fam? You need to sign Steph, they need to sign KD, get LeBron, get D Rose the chip, yeah?
And get D-Rose a chip. Yes.
And then it's all good.
I'm all for that.
It's all good.
We got the Oklahoma City Thunder next. They've got a decent young core, but they're tanking at the moment still. They've got
Straight
a
up.
crap ton of draft picks. Their GM, Sam Presti's a great
They've got
GM.
so many, haven't they? How
Like,
many first
literally
draft picks
so
have they
many.
got now?
So,
I don't know how they're sourcing that one out. Bro, they're going to have the best 6-7 players in the country, realistically
Like,
speaking. When it gets to
they have-
2030, they should have like the best team in the NBA.
they have 3 first-round draft picks for this upcoming draft, as well as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Kemba Walker if they choose to keep him. They've got Lou Dort too, who I don't think people have seen him have that good of a season because he was very good in the bubble. He was one of those players that was good in the bubble, but he still had a decent season this year. But other than that, they kind of have nobody good.
You know what it is? They still haven't recovered from Russ leaving.
They haven't, and I think Chris Paul kind of ruined that for them.
Yeah.
Because nobody was expecting them to do so well last year. People thought that Chris Paul was washed.
And then he just
transformed
played
them.
so good. Honestly, it was amazing. It was amazing to watch.
I think we're going to put the Thunder in the bottom tier, but it's not like it's a bad thing. They're not the Pistons or the Rockets in the way that they've had a dead season. No one was expecting them to do well this year.
Yeah.
They managed to not come bottom in the conference, which is, well done to them. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is still bossing it, and they're looking good for next year too. I think they probably still won't be able to get into a playing space next year.
No chance.
But
the thing is, now, not only the board, the fans, the coach, they all know that their team is going to build within time. OKC's best chance of winning a chip ever was when they had Russ Harden and KD. And bro, they ain't never getting a Russ Harden and KD in that squad ever again. But they can build a team. They've got plenty of time. They can let LA and Warriors and all these guys win the chip now. They can build their squad, and then there's going to be a point where they're going to have a scary team.
at the moment, they're tanking.
No chance.
We'll move on to another team that's tanking, And another team that's tanking for like a good reason, that's the Orlando Magic. They self-destructed at the trade deadline. They got rid of all their players.
I mean, would they have done as bad if they kept Vucevic? Because
Yes, I
obviously,
think so. Because I think none of this would have happened for the Magic if Markelle Fultz doesn't get injured early in the season, because they were doing quite well with Markelle in there. Markelle Fultz, who is getting bagged on, he was a number one pick a few years ago. The Sixers ruined him. He had a resurgence on the Magic a bit this year and then got
thing
injured
is,
for a long time.
again, they're just one of those teams this year. As you said, they had a good start, but obviously, the start of the season is the start of the season. They were just flat. They had no spark. Watching the Magic was like watching G League. They weren't present half the time. I feel like the players aren't even wanting to play. All these other teams, they have at least one player that's like, yeah, that's our player. I can't say anyone's strong from the Magic that can walk into other teams.
No, I completely agree with you. They are going to have a solid core now, though. They've got 2 picks in the top 8 of the draft this year because of the trade with Vucevic, which is pretty decent. They've got people like Wendell Carter from the Bulls, who got traded there. He's got a decent upside. People like Cole Anthony, Markelle Fultz still. Hopefully he can be as good as he was before he got injured this year. But obviously they're looking to the draft to make their team better, so I'm putting them in the tank.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Next up, we've got the Philadelphia 76ers, the biggest disappointment in the playoffs this year.
100,000%.
Obviously, nobody anticipated Trey being as good as Trey was, but they just had to get through the Wizards and then one of the Hawks or the Knicks, and they were in the Eastern Conference Finals. And you look at that on paper,
It's light work for them.
that's too easy.
You know what though? Trey just, I remember watching, and he was literally, it wasn't even like he was doing anything special. He was just unstoppable. It was the fact, I remember he was either sending in floaters or he was just going up for layups, and they just couldn't stop the guy. I don't know
Yeah,
how.
no, they couldn't. It's mad because they've got Ben Simmons at point guard, second in Defensive Player of the Year votings this year, but Ben Simmons flopped hard during the playoffs. My guy just didn't know how to shoot. You need to know how to shoot even layups when you're playing in
I'll
the
be
NBA.
honest, I don't know the hype between the guy. I don't think he's as good as people say he is.
He's a good defender, but he's too focused on ball movement.
He's not a traditional point guard at all, in the sense that he can't, for example, he can't play like Steph, he can't play like Chris Paul, he can't play like these other point guards at all. He works in the 76ers system, but that's it. I don't see him going to other good teams.
As for Embiid, are we still trusting the process, or are we saying there's that ship sailed?
I don't know, bro. How many years has it been now? I think the Raptors sank him, and since then he's just never been the same in the playoffs.
He's still one of the best centers in the NBA today.
Mm.
But I can't even say like they need people because they've got Tobias Harris, who I've gone on record in past podcasts and said that I think he's one of the best underrated players in the NBA. They've got Seth Curry.
Seth is good. He's in his brother's shadow, that's the thing. If his last name was Smith or something, yeah, then people
Big
would.
up Seth Smith.
Okay, we'll call him Seth Aarons. If his name is Seth Aarons, yeah. If he's not connected to Curry in any way, people are buzzing about him. Straight up, people are calling
exactly.
him, oh, he's a top 6, top 7, whatever. He's a six shooter, this, that. But it's just because he's Steph Curry's brother. He'll always be known, unfortunately, because I really like him, he'll always be known as Steph Curry's brother. Even I saw Steph said it. He said, shooting wise, he's on my level.
He has one of the best 3-point percentages year in, year out because he doesn't get many chances to shoot them, but when
He's efficient as well.
he makes them. I think the process is still there. I don't think they should panic and get rid of Ben Simmons. I think if they go again next year, they should get to the finals. The conference finals, at least, sorry.
I know they don't have the consistency in terms of playoffs, but if they don't make it to the NBA finals or the conference finals, because if they make the conference finals and they don't win, it's going to be the same conversation. Joel Embiid, I really, really like the guy because, as you said, he's one of the best centers in the league. And he's being loyal to the 76ers when he doesn't need to be because he deserves a championship. And I don't think he's getting it there. Even if they get the finals, he's not getting in there.
That's a big take, is that? That's big.
How many more times are they going to choke it before
That's fair.
we realize these guys are winning the chip? Come on, Miami made it to a finals over the 76ers.
Their time might have gone. This year was a pretty poor year. Where are you putting them?
Meh. I expected them finals.
Fair. Moving on to the team that came runners-up in the NBA this year. We got the Phoenix Suns. They went 2-0 up in the finals, and you're thinking, this could be it for Chris Paul. This could be his chip. And then Nah, it just wasn't to be. It was very, very tough. The Suns have a young core other than Paul. Chris Paul stays next year. They could run it back, but they did
But
get pretty lucky with injuries happening to other teams.
yeah.
I still think if they'd have won the chip this year, it wouldn't have been like a Mickey Mouse ring or a ring that didn't count. I wouldn't have been saying that because you look at it and Chris Paul was not 100% throughout the whole playoffs, you got to say. He got injured for a bit during the Lakers series. He missed game one of the finals. So I don't think it'd have been like a fake ring for them.
People would have said it because, truthfully, if we're being honest, they played the injured Lakers. They played
The Nuggets without Jamal Murray. The
Still-
Clippers had no Kawhi.
they played an injured team for every single round, and the odds were in their favor. It's like God was like, oh, Jamal Murray snapping your ankles. Kawhi, you ain't got no leg no more. AD, nope, straight to the hospital. And still, obviously, you feel sorry for the guy, but at the same time, you have to say CP should have stepped up in the finals. He knew that was his moment, and he didn't take it.
That's true. I think a lot of people kind of flopped in the elimination game. You look at people like DeAndre Ayton, who was Mr. Efficient in the 2-point line. He was throwing up brick after brick in game 6.
Straight up.
I still really like the whole Paul, Booker, Ayton kind of big three. If they run that back next year, they're going to be up there in terms of conversation for who could win the title.
Yeah, I mean, they're still up there for next season because, of course, D-Book, he's still amazing. The guy's skill. Come on, they're comparing the guy to Kobe.
Ever since the bubble last year, Devin Booker has been fire.
When you're getting the Kobe comparison, you know the guy's a serious player.
Exactly, yeah.
Of course, CP3, he's just solid every year. I don't think they need anyone. They just need to be more efficient because they'll make playoffs again.
Yeah, definitely. But this year they've smashed it. And even though they didn't take that final step and get to the chip, I'd still want to put them in the top tier.
Where did they finish last year? They didn't even make playoffs?
No,
So
not at all.
even with CP3, me and you talked about it. We said we wanted it to happen. Obviously, as the season went on, people grew more confident about them, but nobody thought, oh yeah, from the jump, nobody could have said with full confidence, unless you're a diehard Suns fan, oh yeah, the Suns are winning. So they exceeded everyone's expectations by a country mile. Straight up, yeah, top tier.
Let's get on to a next major one. This is big. This is the Portland Trailblazers. We've been putting in some conversation about Dame. Let's actually talk about Dame and talk about how amazing he is and how Portland just,
If he stays at Portland, he's gonna be one of those guys that you say, oh, remember that guy, Dame? He was good. He should have won a chip. He's gonna become the next AI.
I can back that.
He's carrying them year after year after year, as AI did. AI was unbelievable. Come on, he's a Hall of Famer, but no chip. And Dame needs a chip.
Look at Steve Nash, 2-time MVP, couldn't win a chip.
The thing is, unless you already have a good team, like, for example, Kobe at Lakers, he was calm the whole time.
Giannis with the Bucks.
Giannis in the Bucks. He had Chris Middleton this whole time. They've had good players come. Steph at Warriors. They got sick players came through as he stayed. And that's just not happening at Portland because nobody wants to go Portland, bro. Unless it's to play with Dame. But Dame doesn't want to be there. So you're not going to go because the chances are you're going to be playing without Dame.
I think his best fit is at the Lakers. I'm not an NBA franchise. I don't know about cap space or all like that. But you look at who needs a point guard at the moment. Either of the LA clubs.
Yeah, sure. But he could go either one.
But the thing is, though, it's not even like Portland flopped this year. We're going to talk about Portland this year. Portland still came 6th in the conference. They still took Nuggets to 6 games in the first round. They had that big double OT game where Dame dropped 55 and they still lost. That was the moment where Dame was like, bro, I need help.
I forget this team. No, but the thing is, we've known for years the guy's been carrying Portland for so long. His teammates are doing nothing, and I feel bad for the guy because he has the potential to go so far. He could win.
I'd say CJ McCollum's a good second option.
Yeah, straight up. The guys they don't know how to accommodate to Lillard.
I just completely forgot that they have Carmelo Anthony as well. Are we saying that Melo's washed?
Yeah, man, I think so. I like him. I really do, but the truth is, he's not what he used to be. Knicks Melo is gone.
The Thunder ruined his career.
Straight up.
What were you expecting the Blazers to do this year? Obviously, last year, they were a first-round exit as well. They're kind of just there. They're there to be eliminated in the first round, unfortunately. I wouldn't put them top 2.
No chance. They don't deserve it.
I'd say a May, yeah. We're going to move on to the Sacramento Kings. Call back to what you said about the Pacers. They're kind of just there.
They're just filling the league table up.
I think if they were in the East, they could be playoff contenders.
If you're gonna create a basketball team, make sure you're from the East. Otherwise, you ain't making playoffs, bro.
Exactly. But Darren Fox,
Good,
mad potential.
crazy. Obviously, if you have potential, any player in any club, if you're playing with a bunch of guys who aren't accommodating your skill, you're just gonna be carrying dead weight and you're not gonna reach your heights. If the Sacramento Kings don't get in someone or a few players, even if it's a few decent players, they don't need one big player because they're not no one big going there. Just a few decent players, then their team's not having to be just there. Like as we said, they could be one of those teams that tries and push for a playing spot.
They were 2 games off of the play-in this year.
Exactly, and that's without a great squad.
Yeah, they're kind of in that area because they're good at trying to challenge there. They don't get a good draft pick as a result of it because
Yeah.
they're low in the lottery. Darren Fox, going to be an all-star next year, though, in my opinion. I think the only reason he hasn't been an all-star is because he plays for the Kings, though. His stats are all-star
100%.
worthy. He just doesn't play for a good team.
If he's putting up them numbers at LA or something like that, it's
Exactly.
different. It's the way it works, and it's quite sad to be fair because that can bury your player's career playing for the wrong team.
Where are you putting them in the ranking? I think it's either third or fourth.
Yeah, we'll call it Ben Simmons.
Okay, we'll put him fourth tier, Ben Simmons. The next team is the San Antonio Spurs, who are exactly like the Kings, in my opinion, just better.
Straight up
They got 10th place this year, and they failed to get past the Grizzlies in the...
playing.
After that big long streak of Greg Popovich getting the Spurs into the...
After everything he's done, after everything he did,
2 years in a row now that they've missed out.
it's quite mad because I never saw them seeing off the Grizzlies ever. But it's the fact that they had the chance. And the players, you can just see that they don't have the drive.
They don't really have anyone, right? They have DeMar DeRozan, who I think he's very solid. He's like Jimmy Butler, in my opinion. But other than that, they don't really have anyone. They've got about 2 decent young players. And the Spurs haven't been a team that have had to rebuild. Greg Popovich has been such a good coach. He's been able to get the best out of his players. You know, he got Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili and Tim Duncan to still be amazing so deep
Literally.
into their NBA careers.
Into their career.
I think it's time for them to rebuild. They just don't really want to yet. They're kind of just going to middle in and around a playing spot, but probably never make it into the playoffs again until they start to rebuild.
Yeah, 100%.
I still think they should rebuild around DeRozan, though.
Oh, yeah, they have to. He's their best player by a mile.
I don't think they should try and get rid, because as much as he's their best player, he's aging. So I
Yeah.
don't think he'll have much trade value. Probably no point in trying to trade him. I think the only reason I see him leaving is through free agency.
At the moment, do you think he'll want to leave?
Maybe, but the fact is, the Spurs are such a good organisation. I think as long as Greg Popovich is your coach, you're probably not going to want to play under anyone else. He's the GOAT coach.
Yeah, he's a G, bro. Great coach, man. For real.
Yeah, but the Spurs just haven't really been doing that well this year. But
Mm.
again, I don't think anyone was expecting them to do well. Again, it's either a May year or a Ben Simmons 3-point year. I don't know where to put them.
It was just flat. But they got to the first playing match, so I think for that reason.
They had a better year than the Pelicans.
Pelicans have a better
Yeah,
squad.
exactly. Timberwolves potentially also could have a better squad as
Better
well.
squad,
depending on
yeah.
what you're looking at. So yeah, I'd
Yeah,
say okay, yeah,
straight
a
up.
May year for the Spurs. The Toronto Raptors next, and I don't even want to hear anything. I'm putting them in tank.
Yeah, straight up, bro.
These man won the NBA 2 years ago. Obviously, Kawhi's not there anymore, but other than that, Siakam, they've still got
Yeah.
Lowry, they've still got Van Vliet, and they finished 12th in the East this year.
I couldn't believe it, genuinely. Watching them throughout the season, I was shocked. These players, all of them, they're a shadow of what they actually are because they have the
That just
skill.
shows how good Kawhi is, though, that he could get that out of them.
It's true. Genuinely, I knew obviously, watching Kawhi and the Raptors win the league, I knew Kawhi was good, but I didn't think him leaving would leave that big of a scar.
I mean, it's not even like last year they were still okay. Last year they
made it playoffs, didn't they? But I was shocked. This season, obviously, the fall was crazy. Again, it might be one of those situations like how we're saying Miami. It might just be one of them ones. Obviously, a big dip, but sometimes it happens.
To be fair, I think this will be a anomaly season for them because they've got a top 4 pick in the NBA draft this year.
Yeah.
And then you match that with Van Vliet and Lowry and Siakam.
As long as they stay. Because I think Siakam is still a very good player. I know he's still got it in his locker. He just couldn't find it this year.
Yeah. He was still putting up decent numbers, 21.7 rebounds. So he was still
That
putting up
way,
decent
he
numbers.
averaged 21.
Yeah.
That's decent. But thing is, individually, he might have done good, but as a
Results-wise,
team, yeah.
the Raptors won it. We're putting them in tank. Hopefully they'll do better next year.
Yeah.
If they end up being able to play in Toronto next year, they weren't allowed to play in Toronto this year, were they? Because of the pandemic. So maybe if they'll be allowed to play in Toronto next year.
Because their fans are crazy.
Their fans are crazy.
They got some
yeah.
sick fans.
Maybe that's what it is. Moving on, we got our penultimate team. The team that finished with the best record in the NBA this year, we got the Utah Jazz. Oh, they didn't flop as hard as the Sixers did because it was such a tough conference. I don't think anyone was expecting Utah to have such a good regular season that they actually did.
Who thought Utah would come first?
Exactly. Donovan Mitchell's a dog, you know. Mike Conley, he's been doing his thing for a decade at least. You know,
Yeah.
He's like Derrick Rose in my opinion. I just want him to win a title.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't feel about him the same way as you, but I feel it. I get you because he's one of those players. You can see he wants it.
He was never an all-star, and I think that's kind of what I like about him.
Underrated dog.
But obviously, it didn't really work out for them. They got knocked out by the Clippers. You were thinking maybe Kawhi out at the score tied 2-2.
I thought they'd do it.
With home court advantage, you're thinking maybe.
Considering how well they did in the regular season with Kawhi out, I thought it was done.
They've still got Rudy Gobert, one defensive player of the year.
I really like him. I really like Gobert. I think he's one of the most bigged up players. I think he's come so far because there was a point where he was still playing good, but people just didn't talk about him. And I think he was a main player. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell was amazing, but Rudy Gobert was sick for the Jazz. One of the reasons why they got first place and why they managed to go.
They got to the semis this year. Yeah.
Oh, that guy is sick, man. They need to keep their players first of all.
One player that I think they also need to keep, Jordan Clarkson.
Six-man.
You know, he was knocking down almost 20 points a game
from
just
the
from the bench.
Six-man position is crazy.
Yeah.
The thing is, they don't even need someone. They just need to run it back and just be stronger.
Yeah, exactly. Because Donovan's still young. Gobert's still got years in him.
He still got it.
I'd say they're almost there.
Would you not put him top? Because I never expected them.
I wouldn't put him top. You got to think, last year they blew a 3-1 lead against Denver in the first round.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll give you that one then.
They're still a good team. It's not like a New York situation where they defied expectation.
No, I'll give you that.
And then finally, we got the Bradley Beal team, the Washington Wizards. I really like the Wizards. I'm happy that they got playoffs this year. I say I like the Wizards. I like Russ and I like Beal.
Bro, his season started off not amazing. And then he ended up breaking the triple-double record.
He's got the most triple-doubles in NBA history. He averaged another triple-double this year. This year, he averaged 22 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists. He was clear this year. And it's the fact that people still hate him. My guy's dropping triple-doubles for fun. And people are still finding ways.
It's the same with the LeBron thing. You know how we were saying LeBron's dropping MVP performances every season? It's the same with Russ, bro. How is my man averaging a triple-double? And he's not getting talked about in the MVP conversation.
People bag on him because he's not the best shooter.
But you know what, yeah? If the guy's averaging 20 points a season and he's getting you triple-doubles, you cannot argue with it. I would take a guy who's getting me 20 points and a triple-double than a guy who's getting me 40 points, but that's it. Bradley Beal covers him on shooting anyway.
He didn't make the All-Star team last year, and the fans made sure to vote him in as a starter this year. Because
he had to. Literally,
he's mental good.
Crazy. What did he average? He averaged somewhat crazy.
31 this year. 31
That's close to Steph. That begs the question, what do they need to get to the conference finals?
They need someone. Because the rest of their team is literally toilet.
Dog.
It's awful. They have Dan Gafford, who I like. He was a great role player for the Bulls before we traded him. He was probably the only person who I was quite sad that we ended up trading. He was putting up okay numbers in the playoffs, but he isn't a top level big. They need someone because the rest of their team's just not that good.
I feel you.
Let's take this from a 2K point of view. They've got 290 rated guards, and then the rest of their team's like 75 and below.
That's the truth, I swear. I couldn't have said it better. But the thing is, if you're coach, who are you getting?
A defensive big man who can still do bits in like the paint because, you know, you've got Beal for the outside shots.
Are you saying like a Zion?
I'm thinking like a Zion. You look at them this season though. Where do you think we should put them? Because they were in the bubble last year, but they didn't get into the playoffs. And they managed to put in a good run. They got the 8th seed. They lost to the Celtics. They beat the Pacers.
I saw them beating the Pacers.
They took the Sixers to 5 games as well. They didn't get swept, which is, more than Miami can say. Again, it's just a May year for them.
I feel like they didn't exceed expectations, but they didn't do worse.
Are you keeping with the May?
Yeah.
We'll keep them in the May. And with that comes the end of this podcast episode. And before we end it, I'm just going to say a big thank you to Sully for joining me. We've been going for quite a while at the moment.
It's been 2-something hours, bro.
If you stayed to the end, obviously I'm going to edit it down, but if you've stayed to the end here, props to you.
Hats off, because we talked a lot.
Thank you, Sully, for joining me, and thank you guys for listening.
The pleasure's all mine, bro. You know how excited I was to do this with you. We've been on about it for a while now, so I was happy. I was happy to be here, man.
If you want more podcast episodes with Sully, make sure you leave a like if you're listening on YouTube. Comment below on the video as well. Some feedback. It's all appreciated. We shall hopefully see you in the next episode.
Come on.
Yeah. Peace.